can I just say one thing firstly? I love the name Eat Sleep Boxing Repeat.
Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel in partnership with sharpbetting.co.uk, your home for betting tips and analysis. If you like the occasional flutter and you would like to read some analysis or some betting tips about boxing, football, horse racing, other sports as well, please do click the link in the description. Thomas, good to be joined by you as always. This is a final prediction video for one of the fights taking place on the undercard of Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn this weekend. Chris Billam-Smith against Brandon Glanton at cruiserweights. Thomas, another good fight, some good undercards. I know it will be kind of the middle of the afternoon where you are on the west coast of the US, but I hope you're gonna tune in. We'll get right into it as always, Thomas. Chris Billam-Smith, last Suramat against Gilberto Ramirez, former world champion. Brandon Glanton, three wins on the spin, three stoppage wins on the spin as well. Who are you going for this one? What's your final prediction, Thomas?
I'm going to go with CBS via close competitive decision. And I'm leaning towards him just because simply he has the better resume, has been in with the better guys. Um, Glanton, on the other hand, I feel like hasn't been in with anywhere near the same kind of opposition. So I think really that's what's going to carry CBS to victory. However, uh, Glanton is a puncher, and yeah, some highlight reels on his resume too. And I expect that he's going to come forward and he likes to mix it up on the inside. And, Chris Billam-Smith likes to mix it up too. So I think they're going to meet each other in the middle. And I think perhaps Glanton is going to put him down once, maybe twice. But I do think that Chris Billam-Smith, he's a tough cookie. And I think he will withstand that. And his experience on the world level will carry him to a close but clear decision win.
Fantastic. We will see what happens. A bit unusual position is almost obviously like you're American, I'm British, but it feels like we are going to back our guys from opposite sides of the pond here. I'm actually going for a bit of an upset here. I think Brandon Glanton's going to win this fight. How? I'm not sure, but my concern is Chris Billam-Smith was had a big year last year, fought Richard Riakporhe at a football stadium here in London, and then he had a really tough, grueling fight against Gilberto Ramirez in November. And I was shocked to see him come back as early as April. I thought he would kind of go on holiday, enjoy some time away from the ring, maybe be back in July, August time. That's what I was expecting. But he's back in April and he's back against a puncher in Brandon Glanton. As I said, someone who's got three stoppages in a row. And someone who this is a big opportunity for Glanton. If he can beat Chris Billam-Smith, there's going to be another big fight for him before the end of the year. I'm not going to stay here saying like I'm super confident. I follow Chris Billam-Smith's career. He's taken a lot of punishment, especially in his last handful of fights, and I don't like this fight for him. So I'm edging towards Brandon Glanton to win this fight. Just want to touch on some odds from our partners at Sharp Betting, Thomas. Um, they've got it quite close. They've got the odds that they've given implied probability that Chris Billam-Smith will win this fight with a percentage of 55%, which of course gives Brandon Glanton 45%. So nearly 50-50. Does that surprise you? Were you thinking kind of it'd be more 70-30 in Chris Billam-Smith's favor or something like that?
Yeah, at first, when I was looking up the odds myself, I was a little surprised by how close they were. But for the reasons you mentioned, yeah, he definitely took a lot of punishment in that Zurdo Ramirez fight. Hung in there, but took a beating, and obviously a fight like that is going to take a lot out of you going forward. So, and he's going against a puncher
Mm.
in Glanton, so you're coming off of a loss, especially a loss where you're taking a lot of punishment. It's definitely quite risky to be coming in against a puncher like Glanton. So, um, for the reasons you just mentioned, and upon refreshing myself on Glanton's highlights and fights, like maybe those odds aren't too bad after all, and they're quite accurate.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think one thing that surprised me is that sometimes the bookies in this country, when a foreigner comes over and they're not a big name, they just get written off a lot of the time, which is great for people who want to back the underdog or maybe just know that I've got a good chance. So it surprised me that this is nearly a 50-50 fight. Brandon Glanton, when you look at his resume, um, two losses on his record. One of those is against David Light, who didn't look great against Lawrence Okoli a couple of years ago. Um, he's not, he's kind of looking at his resume, he's beaten guys who've got decent records, but in terms of names, they're not really there. And he's 33 years old, so he's not a young fighter. So it's interesting. It's really, it is really interesting. I've noticed Brandon Glanton's got the same manager as Chris Eubank Jr. I don't know if that's got something to do with him getting this opportunity, but we'll see. And credit to Chris Billam-Smith. I think some guys, when you're in that sort of fight and you lose, you won't be seen for a year. And he's being seen, what, 5 months later. So fair play to him. And look, I'd love to see Chris Billam-Smith. I'd love to see Chris Billam-Smith win. He's a great guy, kind of one of Britain's best fighters. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll leave it there, Thomas. Yeah, we'd usually kind of maybe touch on other things in the cruiserweight division. I think it's maybe a bit of a frustrating division because we all know who the number one is. And we all know who the number two is, and hopefully we see that. Hopefully we see that fight one day. But yeah, we'll see who wins this fight and what they do next. Thomas, good to be joined by you as always, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Likewise, Elliot. Thank you.